Professor Sparrow, you've taken over as a revalidation lead now from Professor Mike Pringle. What's the main things that are going to happen in the next few months and weeks for revalidation?
Revalidation is due to start in December this year, and initially responsible officers and leading GPs will be revalidated in the year zero, which goes up to March 2013. Following that, 20% of doctors will be revalidated the next year, and then 40% the following year, 40% the year after that. So that by 2016 all doctors will have been revalidated. In the run-up to this period now, we in the college want to make sure that revalidation will be straightforward and practical for all GPs, regardless of their working circumstances. We also need to work with the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges, which we are doing so, to make sure that GPs are treated in the same way that all doctors are. That is no easier, nor more difficult for GPs to be revalidated than our other colleagues in other parts of the profession.
Because it looks like you've gone to great lengths in the recent guidance to make sure that non-standard careers are recognised and catered for. Sessional GPs, for example, returners. So that's a big important part of the exercise then over the next 3 years.
It's absolutely vital. There is such a diversity of roles of GPs that we need to make sure that the supporting information which needs to be collected for revalidation against the headings of good medical practice can be done so straightforwardly, whatever your working circumstances. And we need to make sure that appraisal recognises all the work that you do as a doctor, and that it is no more difficult for a locum working in lots of different practices to collect their supporting information.
Right. So it's also a shortened timetable, 3 years as opposed to 5. Is that going to affect the way that the appraisals are done or the revalidation process is done? Is there going to be any changes there?
GPs, as with all doctors, will have to collect information according to all the headings of good medical practice for their revalidation. If you happen to be going in year zero, then you have to collect information against all those headings. In other words, having done a patient survey and a multi-source feedback, an audit, and a couple of significant events per year, but you'll only be looking at that 1 year of evidence. If you happen to have done a multi-source feedback or a patient survey in the last 2 years, and it covers the appropriate standard that the GMC require, then you can use that.
So if you have the evidence, you can use it?
Yes.
If you don't, it won't be held against you?
It will not be held against you, because the information which you need starts when revalidation starts.
Right. Okay.
So those people in year one will be collecting information relating to that year of their revalidation. But it will need to cover all the headings of good medical practice and contain all the required supporting information for that year. Right.
So one would assume that most GPs have started collecting credits and recording their learning. What should they be? Is there anything they should be particularly focusing on now?
I don't think it's going to be that much different to the good appraisals that have been carried out over the last few years.
Right.
I've been appraising now since 2002 when appraisal started. I've seen the changes, but we've gradually been moving towards the required information for revalidation. So you collect information about your CPD to make sure you're up to date and fit to practice all the work that you do. We've been collecting information about the quality of services that we provide through audit and significant event analysis. The difference is that we have to record information about patient surveys and multi-source feedback. That will be the change that not everybody will have done, but many will have already done so.
So we've been talking about revalidation for a long time. It's been many years coming. The Secretary of State still has to approve the plans, is that right?
Yes, the GMC have made a firm recommendation that they are ready for revalidation to start in December. We're expecting the Secretary of State to make the announcement over the next few weeks.
Right.
So we have every indication that revalidation will start in December.
Great. Okay, thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you.